Hello everybody and welcome to the Pretty Good Gaming podcast number 62. Hello, our croeso podcast 362. My name is Mr. Gareth Evans and joining me today is Mr. Henry Heathen Cooper. How's it going, Henry?
I am a heathen.
Cooper?
I'm glad to be joining you, not joined to you. That could be quite an unpleasant evening.
Is that what I said?
Yeah, I think something came out wrong and it certainly sounded like joined to.
Joined to me today is Mr. Henry the Heathen Cooper, bearing the cross.
Blasphemer. But
pagan you.
We'll
get
deal
onto
with
that.
pagan.
We will deal with that. So it's been another eventful week in the gaming news sphere. I've not been following too much, which is it's kind of a nice respite not to be able to follow the news as closely as I usually have to. But Henry, how has your week been? It's been an eventful one, right? The culling with the worst imaginable. It's like an arcade machine kind of monetization where you pay to play.
Yeah.
That was a funny one, right?
I was explaining this to my girlfriend yesterday, and she was like, yeah, but isn't that just the same as arcade machines? And I was like, yes, and that was still bullshit. And it was still really annoying. Yeah. And there is a reality where this sort of thing could theoretically work, but it just doesn't. And it was a paid game, then it was a free-to-play game, now it's a pay-per-play that no one's going to play anyway because everyone hated it the first two times. It's just,
I saw an interesting
ridiculous
comment, right, which kind of was interesting to me, that said that if they gave out prize money based on your places, if like first, second, third, you got prize money and you could actually win money, then you might see it working, because it would work something along the lines of a tournament poker match then, where you pay to enter and you come away with some money. Although that is technically gambling. I mean, it's all right in poker because that's a gambling game. Would it work in that's my question. Is like maybe it would work in a game like Battle Royale, the culling or something like that.
Well, I feel like if you could just pay for it, if there was the option to pay for it outright, whatever the price is, then you just have it. You don't have to pay over the odds. Then that would be fine, because then there's the extra option for the people who don't necessarily who aren't going to play the game over and over and over again. They'll play it like a couple times a year when their family comes around, and then the developers can still get a little bit of something. But even then, just make it like just a demo. Give us a demo that you can play. I don't know. It's just fucking. Someone made a comment which was like, "Imagine if you have to pay every time you die in Dark Souls to continue." Yeah. It's the same sort of thing. Monetizing your gameplay loop.
Yeah, it's ridiculous in a world where you get such awesome premium games for free, like Fortnite, for instance.
What kind of asshole plays that game, huh?
I don't know. I can't imagine the kind of idiots who play Fortnite. On that note, let's talk about what the running order for today is. So, I'm going to be talking about Fortnite. Why the hell am I playing Fortnite, I hear you ask? Well, you're just going to have to wait, aren't you? Because I'm going to explain it to you. It all makes sense in my little head. Before that even, Henry's going to be discussing revisiting Mass Effect. How many years after launch? 10? 11? When did it launch?
More than that. It came out in like 2006. So what, 14? I think it was 2006.
Wowza. That is an
boy, does it feel like it.
We'll get into that too. After those segments, we'll be taking the questions from the Discord community as usual. We'll be taking the oh-so-juicy Triggered Fanboy of the week this week. I think we've got two. We got two, pretty much. Then we'll be reading the top YouTube comments from this week. And then the bad dad joke of the week to cap off the podcast. Now then, first up, Mass Effect. What effect has Mass Effect had on you this week? So,
everyone knows what Mass Effect is, or at least most people do. Most people really rate it very highly. It's probably the quintessential sci-fi RPG. The only thing that maybe rival it would be something like KOTOR, but both made by BioWare, I think. So, yeah. I never played it the first time round. It just never came across my radar, and it was always one of those where I had my eye on it but never got around to it. But for a while now, I've owned all three, Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, but I just haven't got around to playing them. But now that there's a bit of a lull until any major games come out, I thought I'd sink my teeth into Mass Effect 1, I've been fancying an RPG, and in terms of it being an RPG, I'm having a great time. It's a good RPG. There's lots of stuff to sink your teeth into, lots of choices, both small and large, which I really like. So I like choices when it's not just, over black and white. Here, you either save the person or you kill them. I like the little ones, which build you little relationships. But fucking hell, the gameplay and the combat it's 2006, and having played other things since and going back to that, it's a bit of a chore, and at its worst, it's painful to play because I'm playing it on. It's the Xbox 360 version, but I'm playing it on Xbox One, so you'd think it'd run well, but it doesn't. It in fights with me and my party, so that's 3 of us against like 3 of them, 4 of them, the frame rate just tanks, and because the shooting's not very good anyway, the frame rate makes it even worse. So that's a real pain. There was one fight in particular where I was in this room, and I had to kill this alien, but she kept summoning people, and then so basically I had to clear through, I think 3-4 waves, I think it was 3 waves of her troops, and then I could get to her and have a conversation and do whatever. But the problem with that fight is that there's nowhere to cover, and there's this really terrible cover system, which every game of that period had, because Gears of War did it, and it became like the trendy thing to do. But it's just not built for that sort of thing, and they kept throwing magic at me, so I'd freeze, and then they just shoot me, and I feel like they were all higher level than I was at the time, so I probably should have leveled up doing other missions. But that was a real fucking pain in the ass. But eventually I did it, and then I got to have a good conversation and RPG it properly and make a important narrative choice, which was really good, and all that stuff is really, really great. I just can't be dealing with the gameplay. So I started off as, what was the class called? The Infiltrator class, which is all about like stealth and a little bit of hacking stuff, but your weapons are a pistol, which is the best gun in the game anyway. I've just been cruising through with a pistol, and the sniper. It's like, okay, cool, that sounds like a solid thing. But sniping was so painful that I pretty much switched back after an hour and restarted and went through as a Vanguard, which is what I currently am. Because having a pistol and a sniper as your only 2 means of offensive actions in combat is just, it's not adequate. I just wasn't having fun. I could have muscled through and I could have dealt with it, but it wasn't fun. And I knew if I wanted the traditional shooter-esque experience, I could have just gone as a soldier class, and that would have probably been the easiest and most familiar. But I was like, well, no, I'm playing an RPG. I want to have space magic. So I went as Vanguard, which is shotgun, pistol, and biotics, which is basically just space magic. But the problem is that I think they've rectified this by number 2. This is what everyone keeps telling me. So I'm really looking forward to getting to number 2. But whatever weapon your character class is, they call it trained in, only that gun can you aim down sights. You can't aim down sights with an assault rifle, for example, if your character class isn't supposed to use that. You can still shoot with it, but you just fire from the hip, so you don't hit anything. I haven't used the sniper at all since switching away from Infiltrator, because you can't scope in. You can just who hip fires with a sniper rifle. It's ridiculous. Like, why would you ever do that to yourself?
Yeah, you know what your problem is, right?
I'm playing on console, not on mouse and keyboard.
That is one of the
usually
problems,
what you say.
Yeah, one of the problems, but not the one I was thinking of. You didn't put it on game journalist mode.
That's true.
That's the story mode, like.
Yeah.
Where you just walk through all the enemies. You should have put it on that. God almighty.
Yeah, I mean, what kind of fake journalist am I?
Playing on a difficult mode.
Trying to have fun with a game I'm playing for fun, not for money. But I'm really enjoying the world, or worlds, because so I really started enjoying it when I left the Citadel, which is like this, in case you don't know, it's a big space hub built thousands and thousands of years ago, and all the important aliens kind of congregate there, and there's a council and all that shit. But then you go off on your own to start your actual mission, your quest to bring down the bad guy. And you can fly to all these different planets. And I thought that was really, really cool. And then for a moment, I was a bit overwhelmed. I was like, fucking hell, am I going to have to go to each and every one of these planets to do a quest with this horrendous shooting? Because I'm not doing that. I'm going to write that off. It's not happening. But unfortunately, kind of, a lot of the planets you can't actually go to. You can just fly and read about them. You can't go to any of the planets in our solar system, at least at the moment. You can only go to the moon, which I think was a bit of an odd choice, and would like to go to Mars or something. But yeah, going to all the other planets and visiting them and having different quest lines specifically tied to them, I thought was really, really good, and not something that any other RPG can really do, because you need space to be able to do that. A lot of the planets do feel very samey, though. The one, what's the car, your like tank thing? The Marco, whatever that is.
Yeah.
So you drop down onto the planet. A lot of the planets are just empty wastelands, and you look around and find stuff. But there's nothing else particularly interesting going on there. It's just a bit of an XP farm. But I love the sci-fi kind of nature of it, and all of the aliens are great. Like, they've all got their own politics and their own relationships and their own history. Some of their history goes thousands and thousands of years back, because humans have only just come on the scene because of they found ancient alien tech, which is the Mass Effect. And I really can't be asked to explain all that in detail. I'm sure most of you know what it is anyway, because it's a bit convoluted. And your party as well, in true BioWare fashion, you can romance one or two of them. And I'm picking my target so far. I think I'm zoning in on the blue alien that is Liara, the Asari.
Nice choice.
Ashley's a space racist, and Tali, she's also an alien, but she lives in like a suit to keep her alive in different atmospheres. But she's just, the first time I got her, I was like, okay, join the team, we'll go out on a mission. She just got annihilated every time, so I sort of resent her for just being a terrible fighter, and I just can't deal with this.
I'll go and chat to her. Miranda in this, right?
Not on this one. She comes up in number 2, I think.
Yeah. Wait till you meet Miranda.
Yeah, I know what she looks like, but Tali, I'll chat to her, but there's no way she's ever coming on a mission with me again. I'll do all my dialogue options, learn about her past and her family and all that crap, but she's not fighting with me. My main team is Garrus and Rex. They're pretty handy.
Well, I played the second and third. I didn't play the first one because of the exact problems that you're having. Essentially, I was warned off the game due to its lackluster combat. And so rather than beginning at the beginning, I just skipped it. And I
was tempted to, I will admit.
Probably for the best. But yeah, I have Garrus is obviously in the second one too, and Miranda, the two main ones.
So I'm definitely enjoying the story and stuff, but anytime there's a fight, I'm a bit like, oh, can I just get through it? Like, but I'm really excited to get to number 2, because that's what everyone says is the best one, and all of my grievances seem to have been cleared up, and then all of the story stuff is just as good, if not better.
Yeah, it ramps up. Number 2, I think, is the best. The third one's really good too.
Apart from the ending, is the general caveat.
I mean, I didn't find it too bad. I mean, if you were expecting lots of different permutations of the story, then obviously it's a shitstorm of bullshit. It's a dumpster fire is what it is. That's what you're expecting. If you just take it without any expectations, then I think you'll be all right. You know that the end is going to suck, so I don't think I'm not too invested yet. Too much. Yeah.
And I think what a lot of people seem to say, and what I've read, is that the first one is the most most traditional in terms of an RPG. Then as they move on, some of the RPG stuff gets dialed down a little bit, and some of the more just third-person action shooter gameplay gets cranked up. So hopefully by the end, it's not completely devoid of all RPG stuff. But I think, again, that's part of the criticism of it abandoning all of your choices and just giving you a three-coloured light choice at the end.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, by the way.
Well, I mean, I already know that. Everyone else already knows that.
It's past history by this point.
Exactly. But in terms of RPG stuff, I won't talk too much about this because it's really fucking nerdy, and I've only just started. But I played my first couple of sessions of Dungeons and Dragons this week and last week, which was great fun.
That is pretty nerdy.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Something I've wanted to engage with for a long time, and I had a lot of fun. So we're doing it over Discord and all that. So we don't have any stuff in front of us like maps, but building a character and everything, and picking your stats. It's just good. It's just fun, and it's the kind of thing where you get so much control over it. So currently I'm playing as an orc, and he's the most like brooding angst. No, not really angsty, but kind of orc. He accidentally killed his whole family, and now he's done with adventuring. But now he's coming back in. But one of my mates is a complete psychopath. He's playing an elf who is currently pregnant. He doesn't even know why. He just thought it would be funny. He murdered this little old lady who came to help us, give us quest information. He just killed her because he just didn't give a shit. In the session before, because we did like a mini one, my character was down, and an NPC came over to help, and he zapped him with lightning, and it blew him up. And he's just killing everyone. He's got the highest kill count out of all of us, and he's always like the least equipped to do it. Like, he's not a tanky character or anything like that. He just ends up fucking killing everyone, which is certainly part of the fun. But so yeah, I've been RPGing it in digital and physical worlds, and I've been having a fabulous time.
Well, excellent. Thanks for that little nugget there, and have fun on your travels. Is it just like the pen and paper version?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, there's loads of apps and stuff now where you can have your character sheet on like a screen and search for items and do it with like numbers and calculations rather than having to do it all in your head on a bit of paper. But yeah, it's really good fun.
That's cool.
If you have a good team.
Awesome. Just as a complete kind of 90 degrees on this, I just had a thought occurred to me. Last week's podcast did pretty well considering how the podcast viewing usually goes. We got quite a few views on last week's podcast. And you know what I put it down to, Henry? I put it down to the thumbnail where we were joking in the podcast where you were saying, all these YouTubers who do the shock face where they're like, and I was like,
now you've got one ready.
I've got mine, so you need to do yours. Yeah. So yeah, my thinking is this is what I'm getting to, is if we both do shock faces for this podcast, try and get the people in, maybe we'll get double, because it was only one shock face last week. We get 2 shock faces this week, and then we'll get double the views. Maybe that is the key to YouTube.
That's got to be it. That's why all of these clickbaity channels are succeeding, because people see the whole, and then they click, and now we've got
the thumbnail right there.
And if you want to have great fun on the Discord, Metal Shark has made horrendous emojis out of these fucking pictures of me with the shock face. So have fun with those. Yeah, just a little tangent there. So we'll see if our little experiment works out in next week's podcast. Why don't you join us and find out? And for now, let's move on to me talking about Fortnite, because why the hell have I been playing Fortnite? And this is where the majority of viewers click off or skip. Yep. But there are timestamps down below. But I will warn you, I know Fortnite is one of those topics where nobody wants to hit. If you don't like Fortnite, then you're just not going to like Fortnite. I'll try my best to make this as palatable as possible. So I empathise with you, is what I'm trying to say. Is like, who wants to hear about Fortnite? Well, you're gonna. So you can either skip it or lump it. But I've been playing Fortnite because my kids have been playing Fortnite. That's why. Because I'm a good dad. I am a good dad. I'm bearing the cross for everybody and all those parents out there who don't join in with the fun in their kids and they don't have a good time with their kids. That's what I'm doing here. I'm taking the fall for my kids, essentially. So I'm playing with my 9-year-old daughter and my 11-year-old daughter. And yes, I know they're too young to play. Technically, they should be like 12 or 13. I don't know. I don't care. They're having fun. We're having fun. Well, most of the play base is that age anyway.
Well, I'll get to that. So the thing is, right? My daughter, my 9-year-old daughter is using her tablet, so it's like touchscreen. My 11-year-old daughter is using a Switch, and I'm on my gaming PC. And we're playing all together in the same squad. And I think that is I know it's notable the fact that there's not many games out there you can play on on a phone, on a Switch, on a console, on a PC, and you can all play together, and that's pretty wonderful. Whether you like the game or not. I hadn't played a lot of Fortnite beforehand. I played maybe a couple of hours, right? Although I do love Battle Royale. I've played over 160 hours of PUBG in the past. Big fan of the format. And it all started basically tournament poker years and years ago. I even played on my honeymoon in Vegas. And I went to 2 tournaments while I was on my honeymoon in Vegas. Bragging aside, I also play a lot of Hearthstone Battle Royale, and I play shit tons of that pretty much every day. So in terms of playing Battle Royale, I do like it. So Fortnite is going to be something that appeals to me just for the game type, never mind anything else. So I've been playing a good few hours. So I went from level 3 to level 30 this week. So I've been playing quite a bit. And the biggest fun of it is, as Henry mentioned, is that most of your opponents are like 11-year-old girls playing on controllers. Now, having played, been a PC gamer for many a year with my mouse and keyboard, there's not much of a matchup there, let's be honest. And the fact that I get my kicks these days out of killing 11-year-old girls on controllers says a lot for the state of the games industry more than anything, I would say. Who wants to play against good players? Who wants
to make that a soundbite? I get my kicks out of killing 11-year-old girls.
That's it. That is it. That's the out of context comment of the week.
Yep.
Who wants to play against good players? Like, what? Am I selling this to you yet? Is it? Does it sound appealing? So the game it's not stressful like PUBG, because PUBG it's a very intense experience from the moment that you drop out of the plane until the very last. It's stressful. Anybody can kill you at any time. Fortnite squads, especially squads, because it's easier in squads. There's loads of noobs running around. It's just like you see a person and they're just standing there thinking about where to aim, and this whole time you're like, oh, what weapon am I going to use? Shall I use my pickaxe on you? No, I use my sniper or something. You've got all the time in the world to take them out, a lot of them, and this goes for 3/4 of the player base. So it's fun. I sound like a sadist, but yeah, I'm doing this for the kids. You got to remember that I'm doing this for the kids. It's not for my own. But in terms of gameplay, right? The Fortnite as a game, I'm not going to talk a lot about it, but they have made a lot of changes since I played initially when it was released. I think they're on chapter or season 12 or 13 or 14, something like that now. It's like chapter 2, season 2. So they keep bringing in like loads of new stuff over the time, and they introduced like the ping mechanic from Apex last year, and they also like last month they introduced the reboot mechanic, which again was in Apex, which is if you die you get your reboot card kind of gets left there. One of your squad mates can pick it up and take it to a reboot van, bring you back to life. So all these little improvements and changes,
just stealing
to the game.
what works from other games and sticking it in theirs.
Exactly, yeah, and it makes it more playable. And they keep changing up the map. They had snowy areas and sandy areas and whatever, but they keep iterating on it, and I think it's pretty good. There's one recent addition which is like there's 5 different vaults on certain areas in the map, right, and they're protected by a bunch of NPCs. I haven't seen this in any game before. Maybe I don't play enough Apex or whatever. Maybe it's in one of those games. I don't know. But there's a bunch of NPCs around this like. Compound kind of thing, let's say, and there's a mini boss who's got the key card to the vault. So if you go in as a squad, you take them all out and you get the key card, you go in and you get a bunch of like high level gear, which is pretty cool as a mini game, as a bit of a kind of different kind of take on the whole battle royale scenario, where it's not just only human players out there. You've got these NPCs and little kind of compounds that you can take out for rewards, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I mean, the best part about playing with a bunch of friends is the emergent gameplay, and there's one moment that sticks with me where I'll probably never forget this either. We'd only just started playing a match of squads, right? 9-year-old daughter on her tablet, remember, 11-year-old daughter on the Switch in the same room, and we dropped into one area. I took out one guy who was in my building looting, and then 2 of his friends who was on the same squad came in and took me out because I was outnumbered, obviously. 11-year-old girls, they may be, but if there's two of them, it's always going to be a bad day. And so I was crawling around on my hands and knees, and these two assailants were out in the street. My 9-year-old daughter, like the Rambo that she is, came out in the street, wasn't having none of it, took them both out, I dare say, and then came and resurrected me. I mean, in what other game can you say that your 9-year-old daughter saved your ass like the genuine Rambo that she is? So that was pretty fun, I must admit. And there's this other story I've got where I was playing duos with the 11-year-old, and we got to the final two squads or two teams, and we were clearly outmatched because these guys were building. You can tell the good players from the bad players because some are really proficient at building and they move really quickly and they've got rocket launchers or whatever, and you could tell that these last two were really knew what they're doing. But due to some careful planning, let's say, some cunning and guile, we ended up winning. Because we knew where they were, we kind of flanked them. They had to come towards the circle, and then basically using my daughter as fodder, I was able to take them both out, and we won. And there's those types of like stories, memories that make playing a game like this, not just Fortnite, but battle royale games in general, and make them worth playing because those types of things that you will always remember. So yeah, I mean, it's not like I want to play Fortnite for the sake of playing Fortnite, but I'm actually having a good time at it. And yeah, that's hopefully I've justified it enough in terms of the fun that I'm having, because any game can be fun if you're playing with people that you enjoy playing with.
Exactly, so, that's what I was going to say. I'm not so sure it's specifically Fortnite you're having fun with. It's more the group you've got and playing with your kids. It's just a shame that there's not as many games like that are as kid-friendly as Fortnite.
Yeah, it is one of those games where it's all colourful, and there's there's all sorts of child-friendly types. So all the guns are like colour-coded, and so it's if it's a like orangey or a purple gun, it's one of those top-tier ones, and the girls all know the technology. They've played a lot more than me, but they all know what are the good guns and what is to get the good equipment and stuff. So yeah, it's one of those games where I put it in the bracket of it appeals. It can be played multi-generational, like the Minecrafts or the Lego games. You can play that with your kids or with people who are older. If anyone who's older than me ever plays Fortnite, I don't know. Must be some people playing Fortnite. But there you go. I've been having a decent time with my kids in isolation, and unfortunately I've had to use Fortnite as the catalyst for that. But that's just the way it is, people. Please, please, please do not judge me too harshly on that.
If you have to play Fortnite now to eventually get to good games later, it's worth it.
Yeah, it's a stepping stone, like a drug, right? I mean,
it's a gateway.
I'm all about those stepping stones. Yeah. There you have it. That's why I've been playing Fortnite. Let that put it to rest. That's essentially why. Hopefully you forgive me. And with that, we will move on. Before we move on, have you played Fortnite at all ever?
A little bit. I played it not exactly when it came out, but kind of during the first boom with it. A guy I used to work with, he plays it a lot, but he's an adult, a functional adult. He's in his 30s, and he plays it unironically and completely loves it. So I played it a little, and I was like, it's okay. It's not my sort of thing, but it feels like decent to play. Like the movement and the shooting and all the fundamentals are definitely there. It's just not my kind of thing. But I really do respect how on the ball Epic has been with updating it and bringing new stuff and changing it and taking, as I said earlier, stealing all the best stuff from other games and then sticking it in this one to make this the battle royale game. It's not really as big as it was now. It's kind of going down a bit, but it's still up there. That being said, there's all these horrendous little underground stories of how workers are actually treated over at Epic, and it's just a content farm, and they're just being hounded to keep keep on, iterate, and it's not very good, and that's no good, but I'm not informed enough about that to really comment on it.
Yeah, well, there you go. I think more people are playing than ever since we've been on lockdown and the kids aren't going to school and that, so it's probably why I'm having a lot of fun killing them. Let's be honest, because there's so many of them.
Well, we need to ask the important question, how many V-Bucks have you bought for all those cosmetics?
Zero. And it's funny because I had the founder edition of Fortnite because it was gifted by one of the by somebody who followed the channel at the time. He gave out he gave me a founder's edition of Fortnite, so I had that, right? So when I logged into Fortnite, and also my Fortnite account was like hacked, and someone was using it for a while, even though they were still only level 3. I don't know what happened, but I got it back anyway. But I had this decent skin, this like really rare skin, and the girl, as soon as I saw it, I was like, "Oh, how'd you get that skin?" I was like, "Don't know, maybe it's because founders edition." She's like, "Wow, that's a really cool skin." I'm like, I honestly didn't even realize. I don't care for skins or cosmetics or anything at all. And it's like every so often you get enough XP and then you get like, "Oh, you've got this banana suit, yay!" And I'm like, "What? Just skip, get me back to the game." It really doesn't. I really don't care for that kind of shit. I'll be honest. Give me the game.
Yeah.
So there you go. Let us move on then to the Discord questions. Now, these questions are put to us by our faithful supporters over on patreon.com/prettygoodgaming. And for as little as $1 a month, you can get access to the secret or the special high tier, what should I call it? The secret area in the Discord, because the Discord is open to the public now. I should have said that. The link to which is in the comment section or the description of this video if you want to come join us on the Discord. But there are a load more channels available only to the patrons, right? So if you can get access to the patron area, you have to go to patreon.com/prettygoodgaming. So we've had a few sign-ups this week. I'd like to say thank you personally to Lord Crisp, who pledged $1 a month. Thank you very much, sir. Eli Boyko, who also pledged $1. Thank you very much. Every single dollar helps the channel and helps keep the content coming. Hal also pledged $1, so thank you very much, Hal, too. And also apologies for Mr. Cape Fury, who left a furious comment. He wasn't really that furious on last week's podcast, saying, "Great vid, guys, as always, but you missed my patron, lol." And I can't but apologise. It was probably it's a problem with the notifications and Patreon. It for some reason it doesn't go back as far as you want it to, so it like skipped out at the end. So I do apologise. Thanks for your pledge as well from last week, Mr. Cape Fury. And those are the new signups this week and one from last. So let's move on to the questions from the Discord members this week. First up, we've got Not That Rob Lowe's Game of the Ages question, where every single week we answer what was our game from the year of our birth plus one every single week. So I'm up to 2011. What was my favourite game from 2011? And second place, I think LA Noire, I think was one of the ones that I played and enjoyed. But the first place, everybody's game from 2011, the game that never dies. That is Skyrim is my most played and most enjoyed game from 2011. Definitely. I recently rebought it on the Switch a couple of years ago and threw a whole load of hours into it again. It's one of those games where you can just go anywhere, do anything, be anyone. And I just like the progression system in Skyrim. You progress by doing stuff. Yeah, you bang a hammer onto an anvil for long enough and you become an awesome blacksmith. And that's just, that's what I like. It's like real life in that way. I do like the progression system in Skyrim, and I think more games should take on that rather than an arbitrary skill up. You gain a skill point, put it wherever you want. You actually have to do the skill to be able to skill up in that area, that field. Yeah. And I like that.
That's definitely one of my favourite things about Skyrim is the progression.
And with that, it's your turn.
Okay, I exceeded my video games long ago, and I've moved on to films. So again, the films, there's always so many more than there are games. So I've got quite a list here, and again, these are only ones I've seen. There's a lot more that I haven't seen that are quite critically acclaimed. But so AI, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. It's not the Sorcerer's Stone. It's the Philosopher's Stone. You're wrong, America. Shrek, which the meme community I'm sure would want me to say is the best one, but Shrek isn't even the best Shrek film. Shrek 2 is the best Shrek film. Monsters Inc., A Beautiful Mind, Donnie Darko, Ocean's 11, Black Hawk Down, The Fast and the Furious, The Mummy Returns, and the ultimate film, which very few franchises will ever beat my love for this one, and it's Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. I think that franchise set me back on so many other fantasy franchises because nothing was ever as good as Lord of the Rings. So this is just, it's shit. It's not Lord of the Rings, so it can go away. It's rubbish. But I love Lord of the Rings. I sort of, not quite annually, but every few years I'll try and watch all three in quick succession. I've watched them all in one day many times. Obviously, I'm only watching the extended edition. Well, am I some kind of fucking monster? I'm willing to commit 12 hours to watching Lord of the Rings content, and I will do it over and over again. I love it.
That's cool. Some good films from 2001. Black Hawk Down would be one of my favourites.
I really like Black Hawk Down.
Amazing.
I think Black Hawk... I've spoken how much I love Saving Private Ryan so many times, but I think Black Hawk Down is almost the modern warfare equivalent of it in terms of just being like a brutal, quite harrowing, but still action-packed and entertaining war film.
There's so many movies that do the war thing, and you have to suspend your disbelief because, if you're in the middle of a firefight, you don't get out of cover and go and just shoot everyone and you become the hero. It's like, no, you would be shot instantly. And there's so many Hollywood films that depict a gunfire like that, where you're running through a hail of bullets and just taking out people. No, that's not how it would be. You would be dead within seconds. The fact that you have to, literally get behind cover. If you pop your head up, you'll be shot. And then if you're shot, you will die a slow and excruciating death. And you will probably bleed out with all your friends around you being very, very upset about it. That is real war. And I love that. I love the dark and grittiness of films like Black Hawk Down.
There's definitely a place for the stupid action-packed ones with your big Rambo types just going, Aah! But generally, if I want a war movie, I want it to be horrible. And
realistic. Brutal. Yeah. There you go. So let's move on to the next question.
Next question is from Droska. Would you rather have a remaster of The Elder Scrolls Morrowind or Oblivion, and why? Well, I never played either of them. I played a tiny bit of Oblivion around a friend's house, but never more than an hour or so. So I haven't really played enough of either of them to really comment. But I'd probably say Morrowind because it's older.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I don't really have any other reason.
Well, I've played and completed Oblivion, and it was my first game of that sort, let's say. It was my very first RPG on the grand scale like that, and I absolutely loved it. And I would love a remaster of Oblivion. It is one of my favourites, right? That being said, I've never played Morrowind, and I'm told that as an RPG, it's actually superior in a few ways. So it would be good to experience Morrowind because I don't know the story, because I don't know, anything of the game, in a more up-to-date format, and it would be pretty cool. So although my love for Oblivion is dear, I would go for Morrowind because of that freshness factor, because I haven't experienced it before. But it's a good question. I'd like both, or any of them, both of them, but just not in the engine that Bethesda use now, please. We'll just use a new engine, please. We'll get someone else to make it entirely. Why not? How about that? So thanks, Troska, for your question. So next up, not so much a question, is Cloney just leaving a comment. Hey guys, hey Henry. I just wanted to talk to you about our Lord and Saviour Metal Shark real quick. Did you hear the message? What's he referring to there? Any ideas? Any clues?
I'm not even sure. There's so much going on the Discord these days. I can't keep up. So a lot of the time I'll throw out a comment and then I'll then immediately tune out.
There's a lot of chatter going on these days. There's a lot of people.
Because it's a great community. There's a lot of people talking.
Absolutely. Jokes aside, he says, I mean, I didn't see the joke there, but it's probably because we're being ignorant to what you were referring to. I was wondering if the two of you are aware that even if you are not a patron, you can join our weekly or weekendly gaming events on the Discord server. This week, for example, we wanted to try some Streets of Rage 4 co-op, moving out, and our usual backup plan, StarCraft 2 maps with the community. And I heard sometimes one of you guys even joins us. Definitely do. So yeah, in case you haven't heard about it, I think the Discord link, Whispering, is now public, by the way, is in the description. So that's just a little plug for the public Discord that is available. And yes, you can join in and play with the members, even if you are not a patron supporter. And Cloney's little call out for more players who want to join in. Usually on the weekend, pretty much all day, every day on Saturday and Sunday, depending on what your time zone is. So thanks for that comment more than anything, Cloney. And let's move on to White Wolf.
Okay, White Wolf says, question for Henry for next week. Are off-topic questions allowed? Yes, they are. We got a little bit of criticism last week for our Discord questions being like not gaming related, but that's what the people choose to ask, and we're going to answer them. As you mentioned, Christian Bale is one of your favourite actors, mine too. What are your top 5 favourite movies he's been in from 5 to 1? Oh, I should have definitely prepared this. I don't know if I can give you them in any particular order. But American Psycho is definitely on there. I should probably count all of the Batman films as one.
Mm-hmm.
One thing, but realistically the best one of those 3 is The Dark Knight. That's without question. I just had one. I really like The Prestige a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like not enough people have seen that. What else has he done that I really like? He's great in everything.
Salvation.
Well, I wouldn't say that's a particularly great performance, but a lot of people hate that movie. I enjoy that movie. I don't think it's terrible at all. It's a bit boring, but it's certainly better than the other Terminator film that came out afterwards, Terminator Genesis. I hate that film.
Mm-hmm.
What else do I like him in? I think it's because that he's done such a breadth of work. I can't keep up. I did this in my dissertation. The Fighter. He's really good in The Fighter. He got his Academy Award for that one. There's a movie, it's sort of terrible, but it's sort of amazing, called Reign of Fire, and it's about dragons. And who else is in it with him? I think Matthew McConaughey's in it with him, but he's like jacked to fuck. He doesn't look anything like him. But it's sort of like a medieval style dragons, but they cause like an apocalypse. Trust me, it's not very good, but he's quite good in it.
Cool.
Like they sort of cause the apocalypse, and then these few humans have to survive. And there's what I like about it is that there's some interesting stuff that they have to figure out how to deal with dragons in the apocalypse. And Matthew McConaughey is completely just unchained and doing whatever the hell he wants in that film. Well, I'm sorry they're not very good answers, and I can't really put them in a particular order. But American Psycho is probably the number one, my favourite performance of his.
Thanks for the question, White Wolf. And he does say...
there's
another question here.
Oh, Equilibrium. Equilibrium is brilliant. Yes.
Yeah, he's got Equilibrium number 1, Batman Begins 2, Ford versus Ferrari 3, The Big Short 4, Terminator Salvation 5. And there's another question here, which he asks... And a question for Gaz. Sorry if you've had this before, quite new. What are your top 5 favourite songs to play on acoustic guitar? How would you describe the feeling you're left with after playing your number 1 choice? I think being able to play an instrument, such a therapeutic thing. So if you are feeling that kind of stressed out and stuff, I use it for like just chilling out. I mean, that's the feeling I'm left with when I play. It's just like they're chilled out, and I don't know. There's a feeling of self-accomplishment too when you master something that you think is like really difficult. So it's a very good tonic for all the stresses in your life, being able to play. Top 5 favourite songs to play. I don't have a top 5. It's usually the one that I'm playing currently. And the one I've been playing recently is Yesterday by the Beatles. like a fingerstyle version of that, and I really love that song because the Beatles are just so effing awesome. One of my favourite songs, I think. So yeah, that's my number one at the moment. So thanks for your question, White Wolf. The next question is the Metal Shark quiz. So I'm going to have to read this one. After many weeks of hints, here's a quiz for Henry that he can think through and work out. Name each game character based on their riddle. So he's put together a bunch of riddles for this quiz, which is a lot of invested time from Metal Shark. We appreciate this.
Poetry.
It's literally poetry. Good luck for those who are playing along at home. Okay. So we've got a bunch of poems, and then you got to work out who they are. No cheating, Henry.
No.
Okay, first up. No arms, legs, or neck, but can still throw a punch, and call on my friends when it comes to the crunch. Hair like a chopper, cape like I'm strange. That mockingbird of legends was simply deranged. Who am I?
So this is the only one I had I didn't read the answer or anything, but this is the only one I read in advance to start kind of thinking about it. I think this has to be Rayman, because no arms, legs or neck, because he's just a body with feet and hands, but he can still throw a punch, and that's like his principal method of attack. Call on his friends when he's in a crunch, yeah, because he's got a lot of like colourful character friends. Hair like a chopper, because he spins his hair around and he can fly.
Yeah. Not
really sure cape like I'm strange or the mockingbird of legends, but I think that's one of the newer Rayman things.
Yeah,
but it's got to be Rayman.
You're absolutely correct. It is Rayman. Bird of Legends, Mockingbird of Legends, Rayman Legends. Get it? That's the
I haven't played Rayman Legends, but
and the Mockingbird. There you go. So, well done. 1 out of 1. Next riddle or poem. My hometown in ruins, down the mountain I whirl. A long time since you've seen me dressed like a cowgirl. I'll school you in a flurry, refocus and kick. The clothes I wear are now are no longer hick.
That was tricky, and then it suddenly dawned on me, that's Tifa, because she starts off in a terrible cowgirl outfit when you see her in like a flashback or something, and it's horrendous, and I can't wait for them to do it and it still look horrendous even in HD. That's got to be Tifa. Tifa Lockhart from Final Fantasy 7.
From 5. Well done. Well done. You're good at these. This is proven to be pretty cool. Keep this up and you'll get the new record. No pressure. All right, next up. I wield dual katars and dress like a freak. In several titles, I expose either cheek. With telescopic vision and a lack of own choice, my usual movement makes me a good choice. Lack of own voice. Sorry, did I say that? Who am I, Henry? I wield dual katars and dress like a freak. In several titles, I expose either cheek. With telescopic vision and a lack of own voice, my unusual movement makes me a good choice.
I don't know what a katar is. Can I Google what a katar is? Am I allowed that?
Yeah. Right, it's like a bent sword thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's still.
A katar. Let's have a look. What is a katar? Oh, I know who this is. Yeah, this is... what's his name? He's proper weird. He's...
Katars are daggers, by the way.
Yeah, so it's like a dagger you hold like a grip there and it points out like that. I'm pretty sure this is... he's in Soul Calibur and he sort of sways like that as his neutral stance. It's Voldo, or it's not Volvo. That's a car. I think it's Voldo. Is it Voldo?
Voldo, it is. Congratulations, that's 3 out of 3. So you're doing well here. Let's move on.
I think I half got that one. If I didn't know what a Qatar was, I wouldn't have got it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you that because I'm a kind motherfucker. So let's move on. I once was destined for a different city. Now my bloodline has more in it than just humanity. Hiding in a red grave, too cool for cigarettes, with my only reboot target, my only reboot being a regret.
This is very well written. I'm very impressed with this one. That's Dante from Devil May Cry.
Correct, that is Dante from Devil May Cry. 4 out of 4, my God. This is going to be a whitewash. Let's move on. No longer cruising, C-R-U-Z-ing, cruising, crashed in a plane at 21, attended Gordonstown's and then betrothed to Lord Farrington, Don't ask me to mind my manner, I have Winston for that. Despite some prior sharp edges, I'm anything but flat.
I think this might be Lara Croft.
What makes you think that?
I think despite some sharp edges, because she's very polygonal, is that the word? Polygonal.
Yeah.
But she's got comically large boobs. I think Winston is her butler that you could lock in the fridge. And I'm pretty sure she's crashed a fair few planes. I don't really get the cruising thing because it's spelled CRUZ''ing, so I imagine that's something like Santa Cruz as a place where she crashed or something. I don't really know much about Lord Farringdon or Gordonstown. Okay, after some unfortunate technical difficulties with my camera, yeah, I think I'm going to go for Lara Croft. She's not flat, but she's got sharp edges. I think Winston's her butler. Beyond that, it's a bit of just a guess.
Yeah, that is true. Congratulations. I think that's 5 now in a row. That's Lara Croft. Well done. So. Let's move on. Thank Naughty Dog for the Evolvo Ray. I started my journey at N Sanities Bay. Turning it around quick, I had a party bash before ending it badly with a race crash.
I feel like I want to say Crash Bandicoot, but that seems like the too obvious option for this game, but I don't know anyone else in that game. So you have to just go Crash Bandicoot.
Crash Bandicoot is correct. That is 6 out of 6. Oh my god. Promise me you have not been reading these answers.
I promise.
So well. Okay, next up. I started out unable to jump with no name. The craftwork of a Cooper led to my fame. I once was a carpenter before New York. I win races with skill, not just talk. TORQUE. As in racing car talk.
Started out unable to jump and with no name. The craftwork of a Cooper led to my fame. So, and Coopers make barrels. I was once a carpenter before New York. I win races with skill, not just with. Do you have any idea?
Tricky one.
I'm not.
I can see the answer, dude.
Okay. Craftwork of a Cooper led to my fame. Who's famous with barrels? I was once a carpenter before New York. I win races with skill, not just. I don't know. I don't know this one.
You gonna take a guess?
I don't know anyone who's a carpenter or anything to do with New York who couldn't jump but now can.
Okay, I'm gonna make this a little easy for you. Okay, this character participates in racing, has been to New York, and has had barrels thrown at him.
Well, see now, is it Mario?
It's Mario. Congratulations.
See, that was my first thought, but then unable to jump.
Let me read the answer. So Mario is the answer. Miyamoto's original design was unnamed and didn't jump. But that changed with the addition of barrels being thrown at Mario, or Jumpman as he was briefly named. He was originally a carpenter, not a plumber, before the character was placed in New York, now residing in Mushroom Kingdom. And the kart franchise requires skill as well as speed.
See, the karts thing, I did have an idea that it was Mario. It's the jumping thing that really threw me, because I know that he wasn't called Mario in the first game he appeared in, which was Donkey Kong, and Donkey Kong throws barrels at him. Wasn't so sure about the carpenter thing. No idea about the New York being the Mushroom Kingdom thing. The races, but that, I think if anything, that just threw me off a little bit more. But yeah, okay.
That was a really good one. Really awesome one. Thanks. I mean, we've got 7 out of 7. I mean, at a push, we've got 7 out of 7. How are you doing at home? This is one of those ones that anyone can join in, and I think it's really cool. So next up, wandering dark alleyways, swallowing pills with repetitive music and stoned fruit for my meals. This is
wandering dark alleys, dark walkways, pills, repetitive
and swallowing
movement.
pills, repetitive music and stoned fruit for my meals.
I really don't know. I don't have any idea.
No.
No. Stoned fruit. What does that mean? I don't know. I'll pass this one because we've been on this for a very long time.
Well, that's disappointing that you're not going to get the 100%. But this is Pac-Man. He walks along black paths ingesting circular pills whilst repetitive music plays and eats cherries, fruit containing stones. There you go. It was easy once you know, right?
I took stoned fruit a bit more literally, as in like a fruit made of stone. Yeah, all right, fair enough.
So 7 out of 8. Next up, stewing over Daisy and forgotten by 3. No longer some guy using souls for energy.
Stewing over Daisy. My first thought is that it's Luigi, because Luigi loves Daisy and Mario loves Peach, and Daisy's better than Peach anyway. Forgotten by 3. He's just had Luigi's Mansion 3, right? I think. But I wouldn't necessarily say that he's been forgotten. No longer some guy using souls for energy.
Well, I think it means Daisy's forgotten by 3.
Ah, that could be it. That could definitely be it. Has he found a new squeeze for Luigi's Mansion 3? A new bit.
No longer some guy. Using souls for energy. There's your big clue.
No longer some guy because he's a hero in his own right. He's not in Mario Shadow. Using souls for energy because he hoovers up ghosts. I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna go for Luigi.
Gonna go for Luigi. The answer is Doomslayer.
Bollocks.
The original
Daisy's
Doom
the rabbit.
Suggests
Daisy's the rabbit.
Someone was going to pay for what happened to Daisy, your pet rabbit.
Yeah.
Everyone forgets or tries to forget. Doom 3, including it. He's now the Doomslayer instead of the Doom guy. Argent energy is made from souls.
I do think this description could quite easily apply to Luigi, though.
At a stretch. So
yeah, all right, fair enough. Doomslayer.
7 of 9.
That's pretty good.
7 of 9. There's a Star Trek reference for you there. And last up, the Pharaoh's chariots can't run down thee, for I focus on using technology. Name like a compound, but that isn't true. I'm merely reliving being me anew. Wow. The Pharaoh's chariots can't run down thee, for I focus on using technology. Name like a compound, but that isn't true. I'm merely reliving being me anew.
I have no idea. Pharaoh's chariots.
You'll kick yourself.
So you can't be run over by these things because you use technology to be all right. Got a name like a compound, I imagine like a chemical compound, but it isn't true. So you don't really. Merely reliving being me anew. So we just keep coming back. Like you're undead. Fuck. I have no idea.
I think name like a compound is your biggest clue, dude.
Name like a compound. I'm trying to think of characters who have names like compounds, but I can't think of any. Name like a compound.
Technology and compound are the two big. There's technology and name like a compound. I'm going to have to ask you for an answer, please. You can use any of your lifelines.
What lifelines can I have?
Ask the audience or phone a friend.
I have no idea.
50-50.
And it's going to be someone I know.
Yeah,
it's not going to be someone I don't know because Metal Sharks. I've criticised Metal Shark for that in the past, just coming up with shit that I just don't know, so I could never guess it. For I focus on using technology. Name like a compound. Fuck it. Solid Snake. I don't know.
Solid Snake. The answer is Aloy.
It's wrong. Oh, because it's alloy.
Bollocks. Yeah. Alloy. Okay, the description here is the Pharaoh Plague, also refers to as the Pharaoh Swarm, was the name given to the rogue swarm of chariot war machines that caused the extinction of all life on Earth in Horizon Zero Dawn in the mid-21st century. As a young child, Aloy discovers a still functional focus in a ruined site. This focus becomes integral to gameplay, allowing Aloy to learn information about the mechanics, track movement, and patrol routes and detect important objects. And alloy is a combination of metals and elements with the character alloy. The spoiler for anyone who's playing now. I'm not going to read that last bit out, but that refers to a story spoiler. So just in case it's coming to PC, goddammit, and maybe a lot of PC players won't know that. So there you go. That was 7 of 10. I think that is equal with your record. You were doing so well. You got 7 for 7.
Those last 3, man. I mean, the Pac-Man one, fair and square. I was not even close. The Aloy one, nowhere. I still maintain the number 9 could be Luigi. It could be Luigi.
Give it up, dude. We gave you 2 half answers. I mean, you can be grateful for 7. Never mind squeezing the 8th.
Yeah.
There we go. Thanks very much, Metal Shock. We really appreciate that one.
That was probably your best quiz yet. That was great.
Definitely. All right, let's move on.
Next one is from Troska again. When it comes to open world games, what is your least favourite aspect about them, or what is your most favourite? So what do you like most and what do you like least about open world games?
Oh, this is pretty simple. Open world games, it's just the busy work, right? It's just, and travelling. I mean, I think Red Dead Redemption 2 is one of the prime examples of getting from one place to another. You just want to continue the story. You just want to get onto the next bit, and you've got to travel like 50 miles or whatever. You've got a fetch quest where like to get into the next stage, to open up the next chamber, you've got to go to like the other side of the map and then fetch me a rune and then come back. It's those types of missions that just make it very tedious, and why some games shouldn't even be open world. It's just good writing an open world game. Most favourite thing about open world games is just good writing. I mean, The Witcher 3 got me playing because of its writing, right? Because of its stories. Like, none of the missions feel like a chore. They feel like you're invested as a character and you're exploring this, like, what's happened here. There's a mystery, or you're investing a lot in. I think that personally would be my least unfavourite parts of open world games.
Yeah, I think I agree with the busy work thing. In terms of open world games, especially if you're dropped in and you do your quests or whatever, you do your mission, and then the next mission, like main story mission, is literally the other side of the map, and you've just got to walk it. Yeah. That does my head in, and it's one of Red Dead's biggest flaws, is that you can't just fast travel to it. That said, one of the best things about Red Dead is you can easily get lost in a good way. You can also get lost in a bad way, but in a good way, you can then stumble across cool stuff and find secrets, and you can find the KKK. It's nothing to do with the mission. It's just you can find clan members, and it's hysterical in true Rockstar humor. I do think my favorite thing is being able to like go at your own pace and do things in your own order. I think Rockstar are particularly good at this because they'll give you a bunch of main missions all at once, and it's like, all right, go speak to person A, person B, person C, but you don't have to do it in that order. You can go and speak to whoever. It's like, oh, this mission is hijacking a carriage in Red Dead. That's a lot more fun than this mission, which is just go and talk to so-and-so. So I'll do that one first, and I'll do the crap one later. Or then you can go off and do side mission after side mission. And there's always the meme, which is like when you fight the final boss in an RPG after doing all the side quests, and you just slap him and he's dead because you've got so much XP. I love doing that. I love just being like, okay, that's where I'm going. That's where I'm supposed to go. I'm going as far away from that as possible. Yeah. But at the same time, if I want to do that, I don't want it to be a million fucking miles away. I'm trying to have my cake and eat it.
I think it speaks to my other answer, which I hadn't said earlier, which was just the freedom, right? Open world games are notorious for being able to do what you want when you want, and I think that's like the same answer in a way. That's definitely one of my favourite parts of open world games. Thanks for your question, Mr. Troska. Let's move on to Stephen123's first question. I'm not sure this is the right place for questions for the podcast. It absolutely is, but I have a rather controversial question. Did we vet these, Henry, before we put them down?
Nope.
Am I going to read that out and be instantly regret it? Does anyone else? Oh, here we go. Does anyone else think that Fallout and Skyrim is a bit naff? Ooh, those fighting words. I've tried so many times to get into the previous ones, but I just think they look dated and awful. Was it better at the time? Does it seem worse retrospectively? To be fair, I do like to have my hand held in games. I'm more of a narrative-driven gamer. Cheers, thumbs up. Well, it wasn't as controversial as I was fearing, I think. Fallout and Skyrim, I get what you're saying. They do look dated, and that's just the engine. That's just how it is. If you played them at launch, you'd probably have a better experience because all the games at the time when they came out weren't as good as they look now. You didn't have the likes of, Red Dead Redemption 2 looking awesome and all the other games that look awesome, like the one that Detroit Become Human, just amazing graphically, and you've got the likes of Horizon Zero Dawn again, another awesome looking game world. And I think, definitely, I get what you're saying. Looks dated and awful. It's all about gameplay though, right? Isn't it all about gameplay? And if you don't appreciate the open world freedom, as we just touched on, and if you're more narrative driven game, I can see why you don't like it. It's not controversial to hold an opinion like that. It's just you, right?
Yeah, I'm not even going to... The Skyrim one, it's very, very popular, but I think a lot of people don't like it. So, I'm not even sure it's that controversial because there's a lot of people in that school of thought already. Fallout, I don't think there's as many people who openly dislike it. I don't like Fallout. There's nothing outwardly wrong with it. Every time I've tried to play it, I can't connect with it. The RPG stuff in it is good, so just like with Mass Effect, but every time I've played it, the shooting as it being a first person shooter just doesn't feel good to me, and I'm not gonna sit through it if I'm not enjoying it that much. Mass Effect, the carrot of Mass Effect 2 is dangled in front of me. That's why I'm trying to push through with Mass Effect despite not enjoying the gameplay of it that much. But yeah, Fallout's it's not the one for me. Skyrim is great. I love Skyrim. But yeah, I think you're absolutely right about it looking dated. That was in the period of games where every developer forgot that there are other colours beyond brown and grey. But a lot of it was a stylistic choice to then free up resources for other stuff, especially given how big Skyrim is. Tying up all that extra space with more colours would be arguably not worth it. But yeah, now that we've got games like Horizon, which is a really good example, it looks stunning, but also it's bright coloured, and it looks nothing looks like Horizon either. Horizon looks completely independent and idiosyncratic with its like not creature design, robot design. But Skyrim often can blend into other games of the time because, again, it's just brown. And a lot of Bethesda games look and feel the same. But for some reason, I just connected way more with Skyrim. And I don't get Fallout. I don't think I'll ever get Fallout, to be honest, unfortunately, because I'm missing out on some really good games, but it's not going to happen.
Horses for courses. And that leads us to the next part of Stephen's question, or the second question from Stephen. Would you like to read it?
Yeah, let's do it. Also, I don't know if it's been done, but Final Fantasy VII Shag, Marry, Kill Tifa, Eris, and Yuffie. I'd kill Yuffie because she can be pretty annoying, marry Tifa because she could kick the shit out of people, but will make you dinner. Finally, shag Eris because she's fit but would drag on a bit about the Promised Land. You're absolutely right. That's exactly my reasoning. Tifa is... I've always preferred Tifa to Eris, whichever translation you're going with. Yuffie, I've never cared about. I thought she was really annoying the way she appears, and then you've got to go get her again. She can get the boot. Aerith, you're absolutely right. She's going to be a bit annoying, and she's a bit too much of a hippie. I think, like when she's spouting on about the flowers, I'd be like, oh yeah, I'll water the flowers. But when she doesn't get off your case about it, I think it get a bit much. Tifa's the one.
There's
go. Nothing wrong with Tifa.
I think I think I agree. Looking at the especially the modern remake images, I think I definitely agree there. That's I think we've done this before. I'm sure we have, but we do appreciate the questions anyway, Stephen. And let's move on to the final question. Tons. So this week we have had the exciting news of not only the remake of THPS 1 and 2, but a remake of Mafia 1, a game that was years ahead of its time in 2002. But with the new consoles creeping around the corner, is this year really the best time to release these games on console? It's not even sure how many games are backwards compatible on day one of the new consoles. So Mafia 1 and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because it seems like they're almost making more work for themselves because they'll release it now and then just have to either update it for the next generation for the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, or not bother and end up potentially missing out on a lot of sales because a lot of people are not going to bother buying any new stuff until the next generation comes out. It's an interesting one. But I think the purpose of a remake every single time is to make money. You can say even a beloved game like Final Fantasy VII is remade with love and for the fans and everything. Yeah, but it's to make money. But they've already made it once for love of it and got the fans. This time it's for the money, and especially as it's a Square Enix thing. It's a great remake and everything, but they're there to make money. So I imagine releasing it now is to try, cast out as many lines as possible, and then they will probably re-release it on next generation, or it will be available through backwards compatibility anyway. That said, I never played Mafia the first time around. I think I played a tiny bit of 3 and I just didn't like it.
Yeah.
But this trilogy remaster thing, where they're going by the whole, it's more than a remaster. It's completely rebuilt from the ground up. Yeah, okay, we need a new word for this. But I'm interested in that. One of them's meant to be coming out like next week or something.
19th of May, yeah.
Yeah, like a shadow
Mafia
drop,
2.
which is really, really cool. I like that. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. I don't know how much. That's one of those games that's completely baking on nostalgia, because I don't know how trendy skating is these days in terms of like a young people still doing that. Does it have the cultural importance as it did back then? I loved Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, so I'm probably gonna get the remaster just for the soundtrack alone. And if they don't include the ability to play as Darth Maul again, then I'm not playing it. I won't get it.
Let's just hope they make good versions of these games. And I think that anyone remaking a game or remastering whatever they're doing will have one eye on the future of consoles. So if they are remaking it from the ground up, they will already have access to the hardware or early bit hardware for the new consoles. So they'll be thinking how they get that on the new consoles too. There's no way that they'll be making a game with a shelf life of like 6 months releasing it now, and then 6 months it becomes obsolete because you can't play it on a new console. So I would have thought that they've integrated those, the functionality of bringing it to the new consoles pretty easily. So I think, they've already got with a mind to do that.
And I mean, Tony Hawk's is owned by, I don't know if it's owned, but it's being made. I'm pretty sure it is owned. It's being made by Activision, and Mafia is 2K, and they are two of the biggest corporations that always do this sort of stuff for money. As I was saying, this is motivated by money, so it shouldn't come as a shock that they are trying to snag this generation, and they will definitely try and snag next generation as well.
I'm pretty interested in playing Mafia 1 and 2, I will be honest. I played Mafia 3 and I actually kind of liked it. Yeah, the world was a bit empty and the cops were very, very, very aggro for no reason. But other than that, I enjoyed the gameplay. I enjoyed the loop of taking out the compounds or the outposts or whatever, and just cleansing the map. I actually enjoyed it as a brainless kind of fun mechanical experience. So I'm interested, because Mafia 1 and 2 are nothing like that. Apparently they're not. It was complete. Mafia 1 and 2 were completely different. I think I played a little bit of Mafia 1 in the past, but I'd like to see what they've done in terms of built it again from the ground up, and hopefully that they've updated the gameplay mechanics so it doesn't feel dated now. I'm definitely on my radar, that's for sure. And with that, that concludes the questions for this week. If you do want to leave a question for us on next week's podcast, head to the podcast questions channel on the Discord, which you can get access to, like I said, if you are a Patreon supporter. And that leads us to the next segment, which is the Triggered Fanboy Comments of the Week. All right, let's do it, Henry.
Okay, so there's 2 comments. Well, I'm pretty sure we've both got the same 2.
Absolutely.
So, and they're about the same thing and on the same video. And it was yesterday's video at the time of recording, which was the main story was about the culling doing this horrendous new monetization, as we mentioned earlier. But the second story was about a guy. I assume it's a guy. Because his username was that guy something. Who cares? He's gone through a religious awakening and now disagrees with some of his opinions about Persona 2, which came out in 1999, he published a guide through the website Game FAQs, and now he wants them to take it down because it is in direct opposition with his religious beliefs, and thinks that game and many others like it should be destroyed because they are heresy and blasphemous and wrong. Yeah. So I made a joke very deliberately, and I was hoping I was getting this response, so call me a dick for that. You'd be absolutely right. I'm not going to deny it. I said something along the lines of, he doesn't agree with the fictional world of Persona 2 and speaks the truth from his own fictional book, and I'm calling the Bible fictional, which is my opinion. It's not a slight against Christians as people, it's a slight against Christianity as a religion. I have no problem with Christians, just like I have no problem with Muslims or Jews. I have a problem with religion itself, but that's my own personal view. Do what you fucking like. Anyway, this comment comes from the Cyber Coco. Not one of your better videos. You might want to steer clear of things you're obviously ignorant about. At least until you've done the research to have any kind of basic understanding of your so-called fictional book. Okay. The subject of the story is pretty misguided, but still shows more knowledge on the topic than just snarky remarks. I'll give you that. It was snarky, but it was also a joke, and jokes are meant to be funny. If you didn't like it, fair enough, but I thought it was quite funny. The fact that you're so obviously very offended by that guy wanting his guy taken down is more telling of you. I mean, you're the guy commenting, expressing how I'm ignorant. I don't think I was offended. I was poking fun at it because it's funny. It's pretty ridiculous and a complete waste of time. It's BS. I thought this video was supposed to leave out the BS. Was news just that slow? Actually, yes, you are right. News was very slow that day. News was very slow. Yeah, you're not wrong. And I think Metal Shark even commented on it when I'd already started writing up that story, or chosen it as the second one. He said, "Oh, here's a good one if it's a slow news day," and I was like, "You're absolutely right." Okay, so the crux of this chap's argument is that I lack basic understanding of your so-called fictional book. And that's where my problem lies. If I was informed and if I was educated and I was knowledgeable, I would know it's not a fictional book, and therefore believe it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but is that the argument this person seems to be making? Because that's what it seems like to me. If I wasn't ignorant, I'd know this isn't fiction. I would know it is fact. I'm not making a criticism of the book, because the Bible does actually have some very good teachings. It has some very beautifully written passages as well, but it doesn't mean that it's real. Harry Potter's got some has a great story and teaches great morals. Did you just compare the Bible to Harry Potter? My goodness. Yeah, you digging your own grave here, Henry. I mean, John Lennon said the Beatles were John Lennon said the Beatles were bigger than Jesus, so you could say I'm the new John Lennon. Oh my goodness. Your ego knows no bounds. It's because I'm just so ignorant. Now, again, I'm not trying to slight this person's beliefs or him being a Christian, but I will slight Christianity because I don't believe in it, and I think it's there's a lot of silliness in there. But there's also, just like there are with every other religion, don't think that I'm just calling out the Christians here. But I don't believe it, and I think this person, not the commenter, the guide person, I think him trying to alter his guide based on his changing beliefs. Yeah, I mean, your opinions change over time. That's not something I have a problem with. I have a problem with him suggesting book burnings and that the game shouldn't exist because it is in direct conflict with his newfound beliefs. I think that is fucking absurd, personally. Yeah, well, there you go. That's the first of two, I guess, fanboys on this. Yeah, the second one comes from DPC, and I think is a little bit. I mean, the first guy started out quite calm, and then he just got a little bit more antagonized as he went along. This guy is like level 7 or 8 to begin with. Okay, if game developers need to keep their politics out of video games, you need to keep your ignorant opinions about the Bible out of your news reports, Henry. Whether it's fiction or not, it contains timeless wisdom and amazing symbolic depth. I would recommend Dr. Jordan Peterson's biblical series of lectures. Jordan Peterson, awesome dude. I think that guy speaks a lot of truth.
But I don't necessarily connect
now we're
with
going to get called right-wing, even though last week we were called SJWs. I like Jordan Peterson's a very intelligent man, has got some opinions. But now we're conflicted. We can't be SJW and right-wing. We've got to pick a side.
I mean, you can agree with Jordan Peterson and still disagree with him on his religious beliefs, because that's why I think that you don't need religion in order to teach you right and wrong. Some people think you do, but I disagree. And you can get these stories are passed down. You think, the Bible is full of wise teachings, and you can say that, you can take a lot from that, and a lot of people do. And for that reason, the Bible is awesome. But at the same time, the Bible and religious texts like it are the cause of many a death and many a war. Many countries just go into complete obliteration with each other over some definition of a bloody what's written in certain passages in the Bible. I think that
even there, I'm not even going to say that it's the Bible's fault. It's these persons' fault. The Bible does nothing wrong. It's a book. The book doesn't harm anyone, and that's the argument I was making about Persona. Persona hasn't done anything. It's the people who then choose to act on it, the extremists who give everybody else who follows this sort of stuff a bad name.
I mean, all you said was the fictitious book, right? That if you believe that God came back from the dead, or Jesus came back from the dead, and he was born of like a virgin mother, just like by the way, just like all the other religious texts, apparently the deity or their version of Jesus was also born of a virgin birth. That's weird, that, isn't it? But it's funny how you have to accept that as truth because the Bible says it. And if you do accept that as truth, I mean, in this day and age, aren't you considered like a bit crazy if you think that those things can actually happen in real life?
What makes your religious text any more relevant than the others?
I love Ricky Gervais, man. Ricky Gervais puts religion to bed. Good night. Anything he says about religion, it's like, well, how about this then? How about that then? I'm obviously not as good at dispelling the myths.
One of my favourite points in this comment, in particular, this second one, is, okay, if game developers need to keep their politics out of video games, you need to keep your ignorant opinions about the Bible out of your news reports, Henry. They're trying to undermine me like a parent using my name. At least didn't use my full name. That would have been
Henry.
I'd be in real
Henry
trouble.
the Pagan Cooper.
Yeah, that's it. The thing is, and this will be a bit more of a controversial opinion, I don't believe developers need to keep their politics out of their video games. I think you should be letting developers make what they want to make. You can then dislike it, just like the recent example is The Last of Us. There's a lot of political stuff in there that a lot of people don't like that they are 100% in their rights to dislike.
Yeah.
The other side is the developers are 100% in my opinion, in their rights to put that stuff in there because it's the story they want to tell. And I don't think you should be stopping creators telling the story they want to tell.
And I think it's the same. I think it's exactly the same for us. We are creators, essentially. We have opinions. We have thoughts, whatever. You can disagree with them all you like. Go somewhere else and get your news, whatever, if you don't like it. If it triggers you so much that it comes to this where you're so triggered that you leave a comment about it, then maybe you're on the wrong channel. Well, no, there's no hard feelings. Go somewhere else. If you want content that's just plain and boring with no creativity, no life, no soul, no personality, then I'm sorry, PGG isn't for you. Yeah, we might be boring for a lot of people. Yeah, we might trigger you all the time. So what? But we are who we are, and we got to make content that are true to ourselves. And the same applies to Naughty Dog. Whether you agree with it or not, you can make your choice. The choice is yours. Don't try and suppress other people and their creativity just because you don't like them. Just go somewhere else, for fuck's sake.
And if your religion is telling you that anyone else's opinion or anyone else's religion is wrong, it's my opinion that your religion is stupid. That's why I say I don't have any problem. I don't have any problem.
Stupid for believing the Bible.
No, that's what I mean. I don't have any problem with people who are Christians. I don't have any problem with people who are Muslims or Buddhists or Sikhs or Hindus or Jews or any other religion that I can't currently think of. Pagans. I don't have a problem with the pagans. But I have a problem with the indoctrination and slavish devotion to something which you can't see. And something that you believe because you believe it, it's better than what everyone else believes. And you're right because it's in the book you read. I don't believe that.
I mean, we could go on forever about religion and the pros and cons and this and that.
Certainly.
There are pros as well as cons.
Yeah.
But we are going to move on to some other YouTube comments from this week. That was the Triggered Fanboy comment of the week. Now, I have a comment from... excuse me. I have a comment from X Howie X on one of the daily triples this week. He says, "No more daily quadruple then. Lazy, selfish, unsubscribed." There you go. I did tell you were making a rod for your own back, including 4 stories in one of those last week, Henry. Now X Howie X has left.
Sorry, buddy. I mean, I think we even said it last time. It doesn't make it special if it happens every time. It's special that one time. If it's always special, it's never special.
There you go.
I got one here which was from a little while ago because I forgot about it last week, but I think it's very funny. It's on a daily triple which was about Last of Us 2 hackers and Sony filing false copy strikes, which was horseshit. So this person says, Hippo762, stellar sickness, ? As in stellar with an R at the end, as in it's really, really good. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, that's stellar. And then someone commented back, the Earl's Renegade, they're dodging using the official term, which we still can't say because of demonetization, but I'm sure you probably know what it is by now. I don't know where they pulled stellar, again with an R, from. Seems like kind of a sick way. Seems kind of sick to equate a sickness to excellence. You're absolutely right. That would be sick. But what I'm doing, which we've done multiple times, is Stella, STELLA, no R. It's a beer brand. It's got some associations with, wife beating and violence and whatnot, but it's quite a tasty Belgian beverage.
Yep.
And sickness is, what's the word? Alliteration, because we've done, you can't say the actual word, but the first part of the actual word has a beer in it and virus at the end. So we pluck a word that is similar to virus and also a beer brand. So there's been Foster's Fever, which is a favourite and I quite like. Peroni Plague is a good one. The Carlsberg Cough was another one I think we used a couple of times, but that doesn't roll off the tongue.
There's a bunch of them. Stella being
Stella
a beer.
Sickness is one of them. It's a beer.
not as in great sickness. It's the Stella beer sickness. There you go. That was funny. Jackson Pryor comments, was going to hit like for that great news format, but what fully sold me was the commentary of the fellow PC Master Race member. Big smiley face. Now, I think you made a comment along the lines of the superior version is always on the PC and then moved on. You not being a PC Master Race member, so I'm an
imposter.
Excited. Yeah, you are an imposter. You're a liar. Jackson Pryor double liked the video because he thinks you're now a PC Master Race member, which you are not. Would you like to come clean, Henry?
No, I'm more like a PC Master Race cuck.
Yeah.
Like I don't have I can't afford a PC. They're very expensive, but I can understand from my little groveling console life that PC is the superior way to play. Yeah, they don't get a lot of the my favorite exclusives like God of War or The Last of Us or whatever, or Spider-Man. But PC's just the superior platform in terms of everything.
Yeah.
Performance, adaptability, variety of games, price of games. The price of the machine itself is the barrier. But unfortunately, no. Currently, as I live and breathe, I am not a PC Master Race. But thank you for the like and the comment.
Cool. Do you have another one?
I got another one here, which is from my feature video about all the other stuff that's going on while E3 is not happening and how E3 doesn't matter anymore and hasn't for a little while, arguably, but that's a different conversation. This is from Anarchus. I had to rewind when you said Tony Hawk. Bruh, I love this channel. So that Tony Hawk thing, that I had to I record that as a pickup after recording it, because that happened at like 4 p.m. So I was like, right, I'll get the Jeff Keighley live stream and that'll count down and I'll do my editing. Then it came up and I was like, it's Tony Hawk. All right, cool. I don't know what, why I wasn't expecting that. There was some
Yeah.
little rumors, but I didn't think anything of it. But apparently Tony Hawk's coming back now, so I just recorded a 1 sentence thing and threw it in. I didn't have much time to elaborate on it, but yeah, Tony Hawk's back, and I just thought it was funny that this guy was just like, whoa, Tony Hawk, because I blitzed through it so quick, and it was 1 sentence they had to add in retrospectively.
Now, I've got a kind of a next comment. I think it's on the same video. I'm not sure. But this is a weird take. Weird take of the week, right? So, I mean, this is an interesting conversation point because I just don't get his point of view. Not that I'm triggered by it or whatever. I'm just interested to explore the rationale behind it. Jacob S says, why is predatory pricing apparently not a thing in the console market? And then he poses the question, if Xbox sells their console at a loss to undercut PS5 to hurt Sony and increase their market share, that's the exact definition of predatory pricing. I'm just going to let that hang there. How is that predatory in any way? Because
that's just competition with each other. That doesn't harm us at all. The Xbox running their price lower is better. It serves them as a company, but it's surely better for the consumer because it means they get it at a lower rate.
Predatory. I mean, you could see it from Sony's point of view. They are, they're the only ones who get a negative effect of this, right?
They're the prey. We're not the prey from this predatory.
All the consumers get a positive outcome here, which is a cheaper console. They're not being preyed upon, right? No consumers being preyed upon. If Sony are being preyed upon, then that's the only way that you could define this as predatory pricing. But this is just competition in the marketplace. This is capitalism, right? This is the market.
It's not very nice. You can say, Xbox, they're being mean to them. They're not giving them a chance. But that's how you make money. That's the way. This doesn't harm the consumer in any way. If we want to say it's predatory, it's not my fucking problem. If Sony goes under, I might be a little bit sad because it means I can't get any good games or whatever, but I have no loyalty to them.
I don't think it's the exact definition of predatory pricing. I mean, what is the definition of predatory pricing really? I wouldn't say it's this, because this is just marketplace competition is what this is, and it's exactly what PlayStation did in the third generation PlayStation 3, where they were selling their units at a loss in order to get their install base up, because they had a Blu-ray player on it, and it was just so expensive to make that they were selling at a per console loss so that they could make it up in the software sales, and I think they took a big hit for it. So if that's what Xbox does now, then it's just fighting fire with fire, because Sony have been made to do it in the past. So if you are a Sony fanboy, if that's where the motivation for this comment is coming from, that's where it's underlying, is because you don't want to see Sony hurt by Xbox trying to undercut them. They're only playing at Sony's game. Sony literally made the rules for this game, and Microsoft are just playing by those rules, Mr. Jacob S. And I think that's the only thing that I can understand what you mean by that comment. But thanks for the comment anyway. It was an interesting point of conversation. Do you have any more?
Certainly. I've got, I think, 2 more. Yeah.
Okay.
So there's one here which I just thought it was elegantly put and quite profound, and it was again on yesterday's video about the culling and the Persona 5 Christianity thing, from SPL316. Speaking as a Christian, fuck that guy. That's it. Just speaking as a Christian, fuck that guy. And there was another one that was sort of on the similar lines. I don't think he said he was a Christian, but he was suggesting that it was implied that he was, and that people like this person give other Christians a bad name. And that's exactly what I was trying to say earlier. I don't have a problem with Christians. You can believe what you want. You can still disagree with everything that happens in Persona 5. I'm not going to fucking force you to play it. If you don't want to play it, don't play it. But you can't stop other people doing it. And it is these extreme people who ruin the fun for everyone else. And it happens in everything from politics to religion to
video
science,
games.
whatever. Like, it's everywhere. The extremists ruin everyone's fun. All right. So you say you're all out of comments now.
Was that your last one?
No. So I got one more, which is from last week's podcast, and it's I can't quite read his name. Bear with me. Christian Granum. Fucking the Christians are everywhere. This is I don't like the spider on Henry's wall. And then, luckily, regular commenter Daniel Clark Hughes, thank you very much, comments, I think it's a xenomorph facehugger. Now, it is a xenomorph facehugger. It is not a spider. Can you see? It's foul.
Don't point that
this
thing
might
at
get
me.
us demonetized. But, yeah, there you go.
Oh my goodness.
It's quite fabulous, isn't it? He's missing a bit of his tail because he's kind of old now.
Yeah.
But
are you chewing on his tail?
Facehugger.
What happened to his tail, Henry?
I think it got caught on something and it like came off because it's quite a clean break.
Yeah.
But this is my facehugger. He's a bit damaged here too. He's kind of old. But I like my facehugger. He's great. So he lives here because the picture behind my head, I don't think you can really see it, is of Alien, the xenomorph, and a predator playing pool, and it's fabulous. And that's the only thing resembling a theme in this room.
It's the alien.
But yeah, I just thought I'd show off my little xenomorph facehugger.
There you go.
It's
Thanks for that. And that concludes the YouTube comments this week, and which means it's the moment you've all been waiting for. This is the bad dad joke of the week. All right, Henry, what happened when the prison van collided with the cement lorry?
I don't know. What happens when the prison van collided with a cement lorry?
8 hardened criminals escaped.
That's funny.
The oldies are the besties. Thanks very much, everybody, for listening. This podcast, so deep. You're so deep. You're like balls deep into this podcast now. And if you are balls deep into the podcast and you haven't click the like button, oh my God, what is wrong with you? Have a word with yourself. And obviously, you pretty much don't hate what, our words, what we say, and our take on things. So therefore, please consider, if you haven't already, supporting us on Patreon, because without the Patreon, we literally wouldn't be able to bring these videos. We wouldn't be able to make the videos. We wouldn't be able to afford to pay the bills in order to make these videos. So it is only because of Patreon supporters that we are able to continue making this content. So if you do like the content and you want to help us, aid us, to bring this content in future, head over to patreon.com/prettygoodgaming and just throw us $1. Toss a coin to your YouTuber, as it is. And we really do, even if it's $1, we really appreciate every single person who takes that decision, because it makes a huge difference. Like I said, we wouldn't be here, you wouldn't be listening to us, and there would be no content if it wasn't for Patreon. So thank you, everybody who does support us on Patreon. So that is it. That's the podcast this week. Thanks for watching. On behalf of Henry and myself, we will see you again in the next video. Until then, bye for now.
Yeah.